Good morning, good afternoon, sir, and audience. I am here to make parallettes. Parallettes are used for push-up exercises for different positional exercises for push-ups. Here's the parallettes that I've already made, and I will be showing to you how will it be made. So we first went to the workshop to buy the materials that we were going to use, and I have made a blueprint. Yeah, so this is the base, and then this is the rod that we will be inserting for this hole. So it's measured by 16 by 13 cm, and the diameter for this hole is 3.5 cm, and the width for this object is 2.5 cm. The rod is we went to the market, but they weren't selling rods, so we improvised and used instead broomsticks, and that is why the parallels are too thin. And later in the video I'm going to show you how to make it thicker. Yeah, so the tools that I've used, or we used, are we used stick well for the glue part. We don't have a workbench, but we improvised and used chairs, plastic chairs instead. You'll be seeing that later. And we use electric drill for the holes, and pencil for measurements, and triangular L-shaped ruler, and we use handsaw as well, most of the part. So here I have measured the measurements needed for making the parallettes. I used the tape measure. I measured first 13 for the width, 13 centimeters, and 6 by 16 centimeters for the length. I use a handsaw to cut the plywood. The technique that the man or the instructor taught me to sweep in cutting the wood, you should make sure the table is steady, and that you have your arm somehow slanted, so that you can cut the board in a slant way. Don't stiff for measuring the small pieces, which is a length of 16 centimeters. For this part, for this one's rectangular wooden plywood, you can only make 3 pieces of that glue. For the first part, that's a 16 by 13 cm with a thickness of 2.5 cm. We're going to make about 8 pieces of these, since for each pair of parallettes. So for one parallette, we're going to need four of these, and two we're going to stick one um, two two wooden planks of box, the 16 by 13 cm box. We're going to stick that um, for for a better thickness. It's better to use a clamp for this so that the board will be steady and for you to saw the wood better. But we don't have such tool for this one. So I've used my weight instead. And now we're going to make another batch. As you can see, I'm getting better at cutting the board. Don't put too much pressure on your muscles when you move your hand in cutting. You just let it go up and down. To measure again by 13 centimeters to create the line. Starting from the right base of the wooden plank. As I was making this for this part, the the handsaw wasn't that much clean. It was rusted, so it was really hard for me to cut the board. Now it is time to measure the triangle part of the box for design, I guess, but you can just leave it as it is in a box shape. But for me, I'm going to make a slanted form on the either side of the top, and then measure for the hole that we're going to make later. Took me a while to figure out the measurement since it wasn't complete. So we drew a tree about 2 inches from the top base, and then measure for the centers for the hole. You will see the object later, of which I've shown you before the drawing. After we make the adjusted measurements. as you can see, we've already made the triangle part, and then we're going to cut the bits. It was really hard for me to do this because I was using my legs and my back was aching from bending. It was really hard to cut the small part. So I would suggest a workbench if you have one that is about higher than your waistline, and then use a clamp the object to the workbench and then saw it. It will be much better for your posture and for the efficiency of cutting. In making this project, I've started about 3:30 p.m. and then finished around 6. So it took me 2.5 hours to finish this project. Excluding the commute and the buying of materials. As you can see, the kuya from my right, he is using a drill press for the hole. Since I'm not familiar with such electric tools, I just let him do the work for that, and it's quite dangerous as well. We will be needing 4 boxes with holes and then 4 without one. We will see later how it is going to be put together. And we're almost finished. Now this is the part where you can see how I have the two parts together. The box without the hole is where you glue first it, and then the box with the hole part, you're going to stick it like a sandwich. Make sure that they are aligned together, and then let it sit it for a while before we use a screw later, so that the structure is strong. And this is the part we're going to use a drill press and a screw and that's the broomstick. I've bought a broomstick, just one broomstick, and then cut it into two. Though the thickness is not that thick, we're going to make it thick. As you can see, I'm already the one using the drill press as they have instructed me. They told me to just hold still the screw and then press hard after it inserted it. It is already inserted in the wood, as you can see there. And here's the final output of my project. As you can see, here is all the tools that I've used, and this is the final output. Thank you very much for watching. So as you can see, they're thicker than before, and it will not hurt your palm anymore.